Hi guys, welcome back to the Roots and Rituals podcast. I'm your host Jairaj.
And I'm your co-host Soumya.
Welcome to the podcast on nutrition.
So yes, we've loved the response we've had so far on this podcast for the first two episodes, and now we're finally getting into our nutrition and wellness series, and we're very excited to get into this. It's a topic that we both are very passionate about. So yes, looking forward to talking more. And
it's a very important subject because everyone who comes to the gym, they're like, please give us a diet. Please give us a diet. What generally my response is, please be regular for a month and then we'll talk about nutrition, because nutrition is maybe 24 hours, if not 24 hours, at least 16 hours of your day. There are times you're eating. Gym is just 1 hour of a day. So it's much harder and much complex. And even by CrossFit's definition, it starts with not the word lift or exercise. It starts with the word eat. It says eat meat and vegetable, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch and no sugar. So that's how important it is. So we'll be covering some basics about nutrition today, getting into some myths and some questions that we have received from the listeners. So
So before we begin, we have to pop
the ritual.
Cheers.
Here's my free kombucha for the week. Thank you, Soumya. Tastes as good as ever.
All right, so let's begin.
Over the years, there's lots of diets that go around, lots of fads that go around. What I read in 2010. I didn't read it, the books in 2010, I didn't read it in 2010, my nutrition was crap, so I wasn't reading much about nutrition in 2010, but the book by Michael Pollan, In Defense of Food, the tagline of that book was, eat real foods, mostly plants, not too much. So I'd like to dive in a little bit in that rabbit hole, and then we can, discuss about the macros and the micros. So what he says is eat real foods, those foods which you can grow in your backyard. Don't eat food out of a packet. Let's say you can have your veggies, your fruits, even your eggs, meat. Those are things you can have in your backyard, and have single ingredient foods. The next thing he says, mostly plants, because as I feel as humans, we've the anatomy and the muscular skeleton structure is such that it helps that we are designed to eat mostly a plant-based diet. And even in CrossFit's diet, there is eat meat and vegetable. Meat is an important part, and that I think we have evolved to eat meat, but it should be the bulk, should be plants. And the last bit is where we'll get into the macros, is not too much. Knowing what not too much is a very, very important thing, because I think in the modern day where we have so much abundance, we can just open the fridge and it's full of food, or even worse, on a click of a button, there's food, the whole world's food is getting delivered. Very, very important not to get caught in the trap of not eating too much. I have a simple formula which I developed myself in a way, just by experience, of how much food is kind of the right amount. So what I did was multiplied my body weight by 25. So let's say if I weigh 80 kilograms and if I multiply that by 25, that's 2000 calories. So that would be my base calories if I was absolutely sedentary to maintain my weight. I think I would not gain or lose weight at 2000 calories. That would be my, that's called the basal metabolic rate or something. So from there, I'm not a sedentary person, I have quite an active life. So for every hour of activity I do, I add about 400 to 500 calories. So if I'm active for, let's say, 2 hours or 3 hours, so I would add like about 800 calories, and I would keep it at 2800 calories would be my base maintenance. So now depending on if I want to gain weight or lose weight, I would cut about 10% or increase about 10%. Not more than that to begin with, and then hit my desired goal. And then if I want to adjust, I'll go 10% higher or lower. So that worked for me in figuring out what the right amount of food that goes in. Now coming into the quality of food, Soumya would like to explain what is food built of. Any food that we consume, it's practically made of some kind of nutrients. There's major nutrients and those minor nutrients which are termed as macros and minors. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah.
So for macro ingredients, we've got three main macro ingredients that are your carbs, your proteins, and your fats. So carbs are like your primary source of energy. So these must constitute about 50 to 60% of your daily calories.
Yeah.
And we have two types of carbohydrates. We've got complex carbohydrates, which in my opinion are like the good carbohydrates, which give you long sustained energy. These are like your oats, quinoa, starchy veg like sweet potatoes, your brown rice, because they take a longer time to digest. And then we've got your simple carbohydrates, which are like a quick source of energy, like banana, honey, which you would ideally take.
Kombucha?
Well, not exactly, but yes, fermented foods do help with mineral absorption. So we'll come into that later with the micronutrients. But yes, so these are our carbohydrates. And then how much carbs you should have in a day. For a sedentary adult, I would recommend 3 to 5 grams per kilogram of body weight. So for instance, if you weigh 100 kilos, about 300 to 500 grams in carbohydrates. Whereas if you're an athlete or a little more active person, I would recommend 5 to 7 grams per kilogram of your body weight. And next we have protein, which is my personal favorite macro. It might, like most CrossFitters or any.
I'm very deficient since being vegetarian. I'm majorly deficient in the protein department for sure.
Would you like to add something about protein?
So protein is, you can look at as the repair nutrient in your body. So protein works. So protein gets metabolized into your amino acids, which are the building blocks of your skeleton, of your muscles. So whenever we have tissue breakup in the muscle or the skeleton, it's the amino acids which go and start fixing and repairing the muscles. So even after a workout, you feel soreness. That's basically your muscle breaking in. That's all you feel, that your muscle's broken, it's under repair. So when we consume adequate amount of protein, those muscles will repair faster. Protein is not going to make you jacked. It's just going to repair your muscles so that you can come back the next day and work harder and gain that. Something I would like to add about carbs and proteins is that each gram of carbs and protein have about 4 calories. So you can adjust your intake according to that.
And like just to go a little technical, so like proteins are formed by 20 amino acids, like a chain of amino acids, out of which 9 are essential, which means these are not produced by your body. So any source of protein you take, whether it's animal or plant, it should be complete with these 9 amino acids to get the full benefit of muscle repair, muscle building.
Awesome.
So yeah, like I said, we've got 2 sources of protein. You've got your animal sources like meat, fish, dairy. So our body has a better bioavailability for these.
A question I get a lot, and I ask for myself as well, good vegetarian sources of protein.
So yeah, there's like, we've got soy, tofu, tempeh, you've got lentils and legumes. So their bioavailability isn't as good because like with animal protein, their structure is very similar to human, us humans. So our body absorbs it in a better way. But if you're vegetarian, then obviously you have to.
So you're screwed if you're vegetarian. Lastly,
we've got our
diving into the fats.
Yes, we've got our fats. Fat doesn't mean fat. So yes, another thing we'll cover in a myth buster: fats don't make you fat. So fats are essentially a very essential macronutrient. They help with our hormones, they help with brain health, and they help with vitamin absorption. Like some vitamins like A, D, E and K, they are not absorbed in the absence of fats. So it's very essential to have healthy fats. So our healthy fats are also known as unsaturated fats. These come under monounsaturated fats, which you get from avocado, nuts, seeds, olive oil. And then you have your polyunsaturated fats, which are like omega-3 and omega-6, which are very important for just skin health, brain health, joints, and
Eyes.
Yeah.
Even your eye health is
I didn't know
vitamin,
that.
I think K, it helps fats absorb
Yeah.
vitamin K into your body, or vitamin E. Now
Yeah.
I'm just a little confused on that, but they help in absorbing the minerals in the eyes as well. So, but just be careful with the fats. They have 9 calories per gram.
Yes.
So fats can make you fat.
So yeah, I think about 15 to 20% of your daily caloric intake should be from fats.
Yeah.
And then like saturated fats are what we should have in moderation, which we have from butter, ghee, red meat, so, and best to be consumed in moderation. What we must totally avoid is trans fats, which are linked with cholesterol and heart disease.
They're generally in your packaged foods,
Yes.
in your like vegetable oils, in these crisps and all these packaged food you get in the market. I don't even know what
Hydrogenated oils.
Hydrogenated oils, yes. So avoid those palm oils and hydrogenated oils in packaged food. Those generally contain trans fat, which are generally not. They oxidize very quickly, and that causes inflammation in the body. So we don't want to. We want to stay away as much as we can from those trans fats. Now coming on to like a practical way of setting up your plate. So there's another cool thing I found. I think it was in my level 1 they taught us this in the CrossFit level 1 seminar, is how to structure your plate. So generally, depending on the portion size, 50% is it's there. 50% of your plate should be vegetables. It could be any vegetables, either raw or cooked vegetables. Lightly cooked vegetables, I prefer that. And so that's 50% of your plate gone. So generally, then it's the hand rule, which is the size of your palm. Again, depending on but these are the proportions of the food. But your size can increase. Is basically your carbs, your starchy carbs like your rice, sweet potato, roti, whatever it could be, is the size of your palm. And then the size of your 4 fingers is the size of the protein you should take. It could be eggs, it could be your meat, it could be your tofu, paneer, whatever good source of your protein in the 4 fingers. And the thumb is your fat. So another good source of fat, olive oil, avocado, nuts. So generally that's the proportion. Your hand, this proportion of your carbs, this proportion of your protein, and this proportion of your fats. So that's how you should structure, and the bulk of your food should be like a vegetable base, where you're consuming a variety of vegetables, different colors, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli or cauliflower, then some leafy greens like spinach, kale, lettuce, tomatoes, aubergine, beans. They're all, you should have a variety of vegetables as part of your diet. So that's a practical way of, setting up your plate, and it's helped me. I generally try to keep that rule for each meal, so that, all the boxes and the quantity and quality is ticked off. Would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, I'd like to ask you a question. So like we've talked a bit about nutrition and how you sort of determine how many calories and all you need, but what's like your main mantra when it comes to nutrition?
People ask me a lot, what do you eat in a day? I say what I eat in a day is going to be very different from what you're going to eat. But I tell them that try to make it as simple as possible. For me, food is fuel. And yes, it has a social impact on it, and it has an enjoyment factor to it. But I try to keep it very, very simple. Simple and regimented. I eat the same food every day. If you viewers are interested in listening, so my diet is very, very simple. In the morning around 11 o'clock, I have a post-workout recovery shake, which has whey protein and dates and bananas. in it. And then about 12ish, I have my first like solid meal, which is about 4 eggs with vegetables and made in coconut oil. Then at about 2:33 p.m. I have a bowl of oats with fruits and seeds. And at dinner, for the last 3 months, my dinner has been vegetable khichdi with some. Now the winters are going to be coming in, so I'm going to put some desi ghee in it, and that's about it.
No protein.
That's where I suffer. Like I can't. I don't digest. Like protein at night too much, so I want to keep my belly lighter so that I sleep. So if I feel I have a protein source at night, my digestion system's working harder and it affects my sleep quality. With something like steamed vegetables and khichdi, I feel that my gut is very, very easy at night, so I sleep much better. So throughout the day, all 3 meals have protein in them, so I get about 1 gram of protein per body weight. So I'm aiming at about 80 to 85 grams, and that's more than enough for a person who's, I would say, moderately active now. Yes.
I think even I mean, I mostly eat like chicken breast at night, but once a week or so I like to do a bit of a vegetarian detox, so I also have khichdi, but I add like 1 or 2 boiled eggs with that because I want.
My mother's sick of khichdi. My khichdi. It's been almost 3 months every day, but it's I like to have things simple. That if you want one thing, you ask what my nutrition is, I want to keep it as simple and as easy to follow without any frills.
Definitely.
Yeah, and once a week, like today, Saturday brunch is where I go out. I had paranthas and I had pancakes for breakfast. So that's important part of, you know. Yeah. And I fast on Sundays. Yeah, it's a complete fasting day.
So for me as well, I like to keep it like simple and sustainable. So it's also pretty much similar what I eat every day, and then once a week I like to binge one meal.
Fair enough.
But I like to avoid like processed packaged food. I think the only technically processed food I consume is protein powder, which is a very good quality one. It's not like any.
So we'll talk about talking the myth busters.
Yes.
You want to start?
Yes, we can go with micronutrients first. A very small segment. So I think micronutrients, even though we need them in very small doses, they play a very important function in our body. All the little functions, they are sort of facilitated by macronutrients like immunity, bone health, eyesight, to name a few. So would you like to talk about?
For me, the micronutrient which I'm most concerned about, and it's vital for our hormonal. It's actually a hormone. I don't think it's a micronutrient. It's vitamin D. We don't generally know food has it. Our body does not make it. Most of it we have to get from sunlight. You know, so I try to get a lot of sunlight exposure, and it's vitamin D is so important for regulating your body's function. So that's, and I supplement with it also. That's we'll come, like I think we'll do a different talk on supplements, but that's one of the 3 supplements I am taking currently is vitamin D. So rest I feel that if you have a quality, high quality diet, you generally get a good mix of all the foods.
I'd like to add something about vitamin D. It's been a while since I got my blood work done, but last time I had it done, it was during the summer when we have so much sun exposure, and yet I was deficient on it. So it's something we should definitely look into and maybe supplement. And then for athletes, I'd like to say a few supplements that are very important. I'd say iron, because it helps sort of take oxygen to the muscles. Magnesium, zinc. These 3 I'd say are very important with recovery for athletes. So
Yes, great. So guys, try to have a balanced, mixed variety diet, so that, and keep it simple, and awesome. Let's get into some common
myths. There's so many myths, so many fad diets these days. So we're gonna bust some myths and then move on to what we think about different fads as well.
Perfect.
So the first myth is carbs make you fat.
So eating more will make you fat.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't matter you consume carbs, fats or protein. It's about how many. It's a basic science. Calories in versus calories out. So as I touched upon, 1 carb 4 calories, 1 gram of protein 4 calories, 1 gram of fat 9 calories. So the total calories versus what you're burning is what makes you fat, or I think we've already busted
exactly.
that.
A caloric surplus is
exactly.
what,
That's simple as that.
Yes. Right. Second one, fats are bad.
So as I think Soumya has already touched upon
yes.
that, there's a variety of different kinds of, there's saturated fats, there's unsaturated fat and trans fat. So try to consume mostly the saturated stuff, unsaturated stuff, and some saturated and no trans fat.
Yes.
So if you stay with that, then you're good with fats, yes.
Then the third one we have is high protein diets are bad for your kidneys.
There is some science to that. So you should, so ideally for a normal person, what it's recommended, the science out there is 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. Now if you're an athlete and you work out, let's say 2 to 3 hours, or even sometimes in some cases for athletes they're always in the field and you're breaking a lot of muscle, then you can go up to about 2.5. When during my professional athletics career, I was, or semi-professional athletics career, I was consuming about 3 grams of, but that was, I think, on the overside.
Yes.
It was so, luckily I'm fine with my kidneys, but if you are exercising and if you, it's depending on your body's need. If you're breaking muscles, the protein's going to get synthesized and going to get sent there. But if you're sedentary and you're just chugging protein shake after protein shake, of course it's going to deposit in the kidney, right? So just be mindful of what your activity is.
Like I think when the body metabolizes protein, then it like a byproduct is urea and some nitrogen is thing. So if someone who's already got pre-existing kidney issues, for them a high protein diet isn't the best. But for regular people, if you don't have any kidney issues and you're training at high intensity, then about 1.5 to 2.5 grams per kg is safe.
Yeah, but for most people, I'm at about 0.8 to 1 and I feel great with that much amount of protein.
Yes.
I've gone from 3 grams to 0.8 and I feel good. Of course, the amount of exercise and my muscle mass is much reduced from those 4 years back. Yes.
Then protein powder is bad. What do you think about that?
Depends on where you source it. You have to understand what is generally, if you talk about protein powders, generally we're talking about whey. Is that, and we can talk about plant as well. I actually don't know much about plant protein because I consume whey. Whey is basically a byproduct of your making cottage cheese. The rennet, I think, which is left, you would be able to know better because you are a culinary person.
When you make paneer at home, that water, that bluish,
it's called rennet.
It's whey. Rennet is like an acid you put into for cheese making. Whey is the water, so it's just basically a concentrated whey.
Yeah.
So
that's what it is. It's totally a natural product like anything, but depends on where are you sourcing it from. You know, if your whey protein has like 10 kinds of enzymes and oliglycolic acids and stuff, I don't know how to pronounce those names as well. So I would go for an unflavored grass-fed whey isolate. If you're looking for a good brand, I have a couple which, so Satvik does a great job, and then there's Wellbeing Nutrition, that whey isolate, that do a good job. I'm not a big fan of plant protein, but if you are, there's a population that's lactose intolerant. To be very honest, whey doesn't have much lactose, but if you can't digest it very well, try the good brands. You might be facing digestion issues because of the flavors and the chemicals in it, but if you still can't digest it, then plant protein is a good option. But remember that it has less availability than whey.
But yeah, now I think most plant proteins, they have a complete amino acid profile, because by combining different plants you can get those 9 amino acids, so it's not bad. It's just the absorption of whey protein is better.
And another thing with plant proteins is mostly because they taste horrible, they put a lot of like artificial sugaring, and so stay away from that. We're not having protein to have a milkshake. You know, it's a fuel for your body. So think of it like that, not a dessert. Once in a while, I have my brother's chocolate hazelnut brownie flavor. In once in a while, it's nice to have that, but mostly it's just a plain whey isolate grass.
Next one we have that skipping meals helps you lose weight.
It's again comes down if, by skipping a meal, you're probably not consuming 400 or 500 calories. So but as long as you don't binge in the other meal, and you know, but try to keep it simple. I used to have larger meals, just 2 meals in a day. Now I divided into 4. Because I felt that my blood sugar was spiking too much in that heavy meal. So just to keep my blood sugar regulated, I've broken it down into smaller meals. So I think in when I was a younger person and I was under my mom's control, she used to say, always keep your stomach half empty, or leave the dinner table only half full. I had never understood that concept. I had to eat like this much. But I feel there's no point in skipping meals. But if you have like a fasting window, that's great. I think that keeps you very structured. But it's just calories in versus calories out. So there's nothing to it.
As long as like your cravings don't control you after skipping
exactly
a meal, and you stay within either like maintenance calories or in a deficit, you'll be fine.
Yes.
Right. The last one, similar to skipping meals, I think detox diets are very common. So these detox juice cleanses and all, they help cleanse your body actually.
I think there is good science for that. If you can go on a juice detox, what happens is something called, when you fast or you go on a juice cleanse, something called autophagy kicks in. Autophagy is basically your body's mechanism of removing bad cells or dead cells from your body. So you can, use that, but you have to be really, particular. It's not like, oh, I've done a juice cleanse all day and at night I'm having pizza and milkshake. So if you can do like orange juice fast for like, let's say 3 days, that has great benefits on your at so many levels. We'll probably have a whole podcast on fasting.
But to an extent, like our body naturally does a detox as well, so it's like,
of course, every night we are detoxing.
Exactly. So it's like not exclusively to detox diets. Our body has natural functions as well that do a detox. So but if you want to do a better cleanse and all, then you can maybe switch to a
I would recommend just do 3 days of orange juice. You'll feel great at the end. You'll see a significant difference in your vitals. You can get your blood test done before and after. You'll see a significant, especially in your blood sugar levels, all these micronutrients. You'll see much improvement after a 3-day fast. Generally 7 days is where the body fully resets. 3 days is where you start seeing significant changes. 7 days it takes for a full gut reset.
Right. So that's it for the myth busters. Have you ever fallen for any of these myths?
Oh yes, all the time. First in CrossFit they advocated paleo and zone and keto. I've tried all of them. At the end of the day, it was about keeping a simple balanced diet for me. That's what it's come down to. Finding what works for me at that particular time, and that's about it. Yes.
So now that you've mentioned keto and paleo, that's our next segment for today, where we're going to be briefly talking about a few common fad diets that have been doing the rounds of late. So the most popular one to begin with, keto. Would you like to explain what keto is?
So basically, keto is a diet where you consume mostly fat. So I would say about 70 to 80% of your calories come from fat, and the rest from protein, and very little from carbs, if any.
5 to 10 from carbs.
So what happens in a ketogenic diet is generally our body's preferred fuel source is glucose. What carbs bake, glucose. and when you deprive your body of the glucose, it starts eating ketones, which is what fats are made of, to produce energy. So there is some science to it, that you lose weight, but personally it hasn't worked for me, or I'm very big believer in calories in versus calories out. So for me, it's whatever the fuel source is, it doesn't matter as long as you're burning more than you're consuming.
And also it like deprives you of so many nutrients, and it's unsustainable. You can't follow that for months together.
Yes.
Right. The next one we have is paleo.
So paleo diet comes from the Paleolithic era, which is basically around, I think, before the agriculture revolution came out. So you eat all those foods which were available before agriculture became a part of our community. I feel that humans are not apes anymore. Our stomachs have evolved, our whole digestive systems evolved with the food. Great. If you have any allergies and any food intolerances, yes, take out those foods, but whatever is available, natural food that the earth produces, consume that. Yes.
So it's a bit too restrictive, like you can't have whole grains and dairy. I think I personally can't live without cheese, so I don't
so
think
just see what works for you, you don't have to be so restrictive.
Right. The next one is intermittent fasting. I think you've been doing that.
Yes, I try to keep about 16 hours of fasting and about 8 hours of eating, not the other way around. Just be careful with that. It helps me, feel sharp and alive, and there's good. So your body's generally, I talked about autophagy. It kicks in about after every 14 hours. So my body's in a state of autophagy for about a couple of hours every day, and I go for longer fast. Generally, after this kombucha, I'm probably fasted.
Yeah, but again, with this, in that window when you're eating, if you eat too much,
exactly, then that destroys the purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just to keep your structure to your diet.
Yes, it does help with calorie control, but only if practiced.
It makes life easy that okay, this is my eating window, and if you go out, you tell them, oh, now my fasting window has started. They're like, oh, okay, you can't even the people generally respectful of that.
If you don't like the food, if you go somewhere,
it's the easy cop out is I'm fasting now. Yeah.
Right, now we have a bit of a controversial one. It's the carnivore diet. Have you?
I've never tried it. No. Never tried it myself. I had limited experience with it. But again, I'm a big believer in eating. I wouldn't go vegan. I wouldn't go carnivore. I'll stay somewhere in the middle where I consume, a mix of all whatever the earth gives me to eat.
But this one is only meat, pure protein, and fats. So it's zero carbs. You just eat meat and butter. And
look, meats have really good micronutrient profile, but hard to digest so much meat. I personally, for me, I would not recommend it from my side.
Neither would I. Even though you're getting so much protein, but it's not.
And the bad karma you get from eating so much. Don't forget about that. Yeah.
All right, so that's it for our fat diet session for today. Now we can move on to our audience segment.